Hello Star Wars The Old Republic players and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're covering the developer livestream that happened last week for game updates 7.9.1 and 8.0. But first let's talk about what's coming this week with game update 7.9.1. In this update we're getting Galactic Season 11, which is a return of rewards that were available in Seasons 2 and 4, including the companions Amity and Zeil. So now players that missed out on those Galactic seasons will be able to catch up and get these companions. But for new players, there's also a few new things, including this new armor that is also going to be a new customization for Amity companion, but you can also now use it on your characters as well. Both companions will feature new customization for veteran players that already have them. There's also these new mounts, which is great that we're seeing even more mounts become the default, having your companion next to you. I think that's pretty cool. And there's a few other things listed here, which includes the legacy titles Last Light in Disguise, a legacy title achievement Perfectly Balanced, the character titles Zeil's Confidant and Amity's Ambassador. And lastly, we have some Stronghold labels, Trade Route and Battle Station. They also mentioned that all the future all-season stuff from seasons 1 to 4 in the future will also be in the rewards vendor for Galactic Season. Next, for 7.9.1 is that the Cartel market will feature a new category for accessories, taking for example the shades that recently released, which I quite like. But the big thing about this announcement is that they're adding Cybernetics that are available on the character creator when you create a cyborg will now become part of customization on any species that you can equip on a head slot. Of course, that makes you wonder what happens to cyborg characters then. Cyborg characters can simply now mix and match with the things they already have as available as a feature. They're not removing cyborgs. In the more distant future, in October 6th, the Feast of Prosperity is going to return and will run until November 3rd and will feature this new Wader Droid customization for your starting Protocol Droid companion C2N2 or 2VRN8, depending on your faction. So that's the little bit things coming with 7.9.1. Since the Feast event is ending on November 3rd, that already gives you an idea that the next update, 8.0, is probably gonna be sometime on December or even next year. Now, if you missed out on the last live stream and the last video I did covering everything announced for 8.0, I'll give you a very quick recap. It's gonna have, of course, brand new story that will continue what happened in Legacy Reborn, while also start a brand new story as a whole. There's gonna be a level cap increase to level 85. There will be combat balance changes and new abilities introduced. There will be a new gearing system, a new operation with 3 boss battles, and a new planet, Ryloth, the Twi'lek homeworld. And this planet will feature dynamic encounters. Yesterday we learned of even more new things that they're adding on 8.0. Firstly, they're adding the fitted pack items to collections, which is over 500 items in armor sets and weapons to start collecting. You can get these usually from the world drops or even on the login rewards. So if you've been holding on to those or you've been deleting them, I would suggest you start holding on to them if you really care about updating your collections. Now, another really great feature they announced is that the toys have been moved to the abilities tab. If you don't know what toys are, they're essentially things like the trainer holograms or the resting healing toys, which are the more popular ones, where you can summon a Sarlacc monster that grabs you while you're still healing or doing that fancy animation. Currently, you need to have them in the inventory in order to use them. Now they won't take up space on your inventory, so this is a huge upgrade. Now, another thing that they announced, which I'm not too happy about, I'm not sure what they're going for here, is that they're adjusting the experience that you gain when you're leveling, and they describe it that it's a way to stop players from over leveling when they're playing in the story where they're like way too high level for the content that they're playing. But essentially, I personally feel it's just a lot of words just to say that they're nerfing XP games, period. I understand that yes, we do overlevel, but I think that's an option for the player. I do think this comes attached to something they also announced, which I will discuss now, and is that they're announcing new difficulty modes for the Overworld. Is another addition here where you can now make the combat in the game not just be story difficulty, but instead be veteran and master in normal content, not just multiplayer flashpoints and thing or operations or things like that. Instead, like in the actual world when you're playing or in the story, you get to actually feel this change of story, veteran and master now. And what this will do is that it will impact the amount of damage that you receive, the healing that you receive, and the experience that you gain. However, if you're playing with someone that's doing story, they're not going to be affected because you're a veteran. So for example, if you're fighting one specific, I don't know, big champion enemy you find on a planet together, that enemy will do more damage on the person that's on veteran or master difficulty, but the enemy will damage any normal story mode to the person that does not have the extra difficulty on. So I think that's a good thing, but it does mention that it does impact the experience that you gain when using this difficulty mode. So I think that's what comes tied into the whole they're nerfing overall the XP gain. But I guess we'll see how big and impactful it is ultimately. In that same line, they're introducing a new ventures, which is called Ventures Classic and Expert. So what this venture does is that you will start a new character where you can choose to start this character purely on veteran difficulty or purely on master difficulty. These particular players will have brand new gameplay. There will be some difference to their game. And because they're playing strictly on these difficulties, they will have unique rewards that they can earn. Part of the idea of the Ventures Classic is for those players that want the Classic or Republic, but the idea is that you feel the difficulty of how the game started back then, where you can play the original era of stories, the planetary arcs, earn and level up crew skills, defeat the original story flashpoints, and more. All of this though will be in veteran difficulty when you're doing this. Meanwhile, the expert one will have a variety of objectives for players that want to test their skill, like exploring the galaxy and even going into areas that are level 80 plus. So they will basically have their own little missions to go through on their own when they start these characters through ventures. Lastly, in another smaller feature they announced for 8.0, it is Stronghold decorations will now stay turned on once you exit your Stronghold. What I mean by this is that, for example, these Stronghold decorations that you see here, you interact with them in your Stronghold and they light up. But when you leave your Stronghold, they turn off. This time, with this update on 8.0, they will always remain on to whatever state you left them on when you interacted with them. So it's a nice little feature so that you can always have your Stronghold feeling alive and not always having to turn on everything so you can see it in action. So that's a quick recap on everything they said about 8.0. For now though, they opened the public test server to test a few things, including new abilities for the Sentinel Marauder, Vanguard Power Tech, and Sage Sorcerer. And also on the public test, you can test the first boss of the new operation in story and veteran mode. There is no character copy on the PTS right now, but there will be a NPC that will give you the level 85 boost and gear right away. Now in terms of the abilities, I'm not going to go over them in extreme details because I feel like it's more like you have to see it to believe and understand what's going on with the ability. But what they essentially told us is that each discipline, meaning each combat, will earn a new ability and passive. The new abilities on 8.0 will be earned when you get to level 83. And what this new ability will be is that it will be an upgrade replacement to an existing ability. So we're upgrading an ability for each class. And this upgrade ability will be a shared combat style ability. Meanwhile, the new operation for 8.0 is a very interesting sounding one because it's going to take place on Darth Maul's massive ship, which was featured in the Master Enigma story. The ship, of course, is called the Enigma. The operation will be there, and you're going to be studying the natures of all the experiments that Darth Null did on that ship, including the children of Null. And as I mentioned, this operation will feature 3 bosses. And that's it for everything that's on the public test server. There will be other public test servers in the future. Currently there's a Twitch drop where you can get this Runok poster decoration. And when 7.9.1 drops next week, you'll be able to grind this new mount as well, the Vectron Colette EMM4 on Twitch. So that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on all the level changes and difficulty changes. Very curious to see what you think. See you next time.